Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Coach Steve Spurrier. We will be joined by the head track coach at the University of Florida, Mouse Holloway. We're going to be joined by All-American gold medal winner swimmer, Anthony Nesty. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Shane Howe is my former SEC Player of the Year in back-to-back years. You know, when I go to the restaurant, I like to give a little trivia question to the fans out there, and I was just thinking about something. I think our fans all know Danny Warfel also won back-to-back in 95 and 96. How many, here's a trivia question for all your fans that are listening today. How many Tennessee quarterbacks, Alabama quarterbacks, Georgia quarterbacks have ever won the SEC MVP back-to-back years? And tell somebody to call in and answer that if they know anybody else that's ever done that beside you and Danny Warfel. So that's a good trivia question for you fans out there, okay?
Yeah, that is a good one. I don't know if anybody else has done it in the from any other school in the conference. Not just those, but I could be
I don't
wrong.
think they have either. That's somebody might can dig one up, but I know Peyton Manning only won it 1 year, I think, in 97. Because Danny was 95, 96, and you were 90, 91. Alabama, their quarterback last year, Bryce,
he
won
could do it this year. He could do it this year.
He's got a chance to tie you guys.
Yep.
But the odds are pretty slim. He's going to be the MVP this year, but time will tell.
Yep, that's a good trivia question. The first year, the Steve Spurrier First Year Coaches Award. Just talk briefly about that. Obviously, the winners we all know are Heupel and Shane Beamer, but it was a great night.
Yeah, it was. I appreciate Chris Doring. He's one of the sponsors of the event. Mike Griffith with the Football Writers of America. He's the one that got in touch with me a couple of years ago and wanted to put my name on that award. And I said, you know what? I like that because it signifies a new coach comes in and he's not worried about anything in the past. He sort of changes the attitude, changes the thought process, just like you guys did way back in 1990. And accomplished a lot. I still have a tremendous fondness of our 90 team because they set the tone for the rest of all 12 teams that I was able to coach here at Florida by winning the SEC. And then in 91, you guys said, heck, last year's team won it. We can do it again, fellas. Let's go do it. And then actually the 91 team was the first ever to win all the SEC games in the season. But so we honored the coach that did that. And Heupel and Beamer both had similar records, 7-6. They both did better than what was predicted for them during the season. Preseason ticks, they were right down there with Vandy, number 12 and 13 in the SEC. So they had good years, and they changed the attitude at both places. So they're the guys we honored as the Coach of the Year. We tried to find one, but they were so similar, we decided to give it to both of them.
Yeah. Coach, we got a Facebook Live question here brought to you by Meddled Law, the only official law firm for Florida Gators. It comes from Andy. He says, Coach, is there a reason Shane didn't run the offense out of the shotgun?
Well, we didn't really go to the shotgun until 96 after that FSU game up there. And we just really never had to. I mean, we were leading the league in offense every year. But then I could finally see that there is a place for the shotgun, especially if you have to throw the ball. And Nebraska, they put like 7 guys up there when we'd get in empty. And from underneath, if they got one rushing free, you have no chance. But if you're in the gun, and even though a guy's coming clean from the outside, you can get it off. So that was the big reason I think we went to it there in 96. But there's a place for it. But I'm a still believer, Shane, you should do both. You should have a guy underneath, and you should have the shotgun ready also. And but these teams nowadays, I don't know, when it's 3rd and 1 and you're in the shotgun and it's 3rd and goal at the 1 yard line and they're still in the shotgun. Oh, I just think there's a place for, both underneath and the gun.
I agree. John asked on the Titan MR text line, Coach, do you miss coaching?
Oh, I miss the sideline. Yeah, I miss calling the plays and the practices and all that kind of stuff, and teaching the guys and quarterbacks, receivers, spending all day with you guys. Oh, certainly you miss that part. But the other part, no, I'm glad I don't have to worry about the transfer portal and all the things they got going now. The SI name, image, likeness, the NIL stuff. It's a lot of headaches, but that's why there's 50 people on a coaching staff now, 50 or 60 it seems like, and we had 10 coaches. We had about 3 or 4 GAs. I think we had 3 secretaries. Of course, Betty Ling was our recruiting coordinator all those years, and the coaches did basically all the coaches. Nowadays, all the assistant coaches have an assistant to them, so. It's a lot different now, but just, coaching the ball plays, coaching you guys, the quarterbacks, oh, sure, I miss that part of it.
Yeah. John asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meddled Law. Coach, looking back at the Florida FSU game at the Swamp, what went into your decision to alternate Doug and Noah? He thought it was great, but what went into that decision?
We had they both played well. I remember Dougie struggled a little bit in one of those games, and Noah came in, played very well. So they both were ready to play. And, of course, we got word that FSU knew our signals. We did not hide our signals as well as we probably should have back in those days. We had one guy doing them. Nowadays, we should have had about 3 guys, doing the signals and all that. So, anyway, I figured, well, if we rotate Dougie and Noah, then we don't have to worry about signals. I'll just give them the play, and they run in there and go with it. So it worked out pretty well. They both played super. And then, of course, right at the end of the game, Doug, he called the curl and go to Quezzy. I'd send in just the read play, which is a 12-yard curl there. And Dougie gave him the sign to curl and go. He loved doing that. I used to get on him a little bit. I said, he can't do that, but about once every 2 or 3 games now. But he loved that curl and go, and he called it at the right time. And that was the big play of the game, hit Quezzy for about a 65-yard gain. Then Fred Taylor took him 2 runs to get it in the end zone. But then we had to stop FSU, and Dwayne Thomas got the pick, to end the game. I know our fans love that game. I liked it, too. We beat the #1 team in the nation. But it did not lead to a championship. We didn't win the division that year. We didn't win the SEC. But really proud of that team because we didn't win any of those, but we went on and won the Citrus Bowl down there, and we finished 4th in the nation. So to finish 4th in the nation after losing 2 games, that team was special. It really was. 1997 team.
Yep. Andy asked here on Facebook Live, Coach, who was the toughest opposing coach that you had to game plan against?
Well, it wasn't the coach necessary, but FSU had the best defensive talent of any team we usually played. They and Tennessee. So those were the 2 best defensive talented teams, seems like, that we played most years. So they were obviously the toughest to go against. And looking back, well, let's see, we had 27 losses in 12 years, and 8 and 4. 12 of them were to Tennessee and FSU. So about a third of our losses, more than a third of our losses were to those 2 teams.
We're speaking Coach Steve Spurrier here on the Titan MR hotline. Got him for a few more minutes. We got a couple of texts on the Titan MR text line. This is a good question here, Coach. Sharon wants to know, Coach, can you explain to us fans what your role as an ambassador does? My role as ambassador? Well, last night I went to the Mike White radio call-in show. I mean, I didn't have to, but I go up there with Jeff Cardoza, and Coach White was at the restaurant, which is where most all the coaches do their call-in show at the Spurrier Gridiron Grill.
So my wife Jerry and I were up there, and I got a chance to go on there. And really, I really like Mike White. I hope he's not on the hot seat because I think his players play with great effort. They give it all they got. We're a little light on shooting ability, I think, and we don't always make our free throws and this, that, and the other. But, boy, they do play hard. You got to give them credit for hustle and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that's part of my ambassador duties, but I do some videos for fundraising, things of that nature. I do have an office in the stadium. My assistant, Alicia, is very helpful for all the stuff that I do. But mostly it's just to support and spread goodwill for the University of Florida.
Betty asks, Coach, you have done so much in your lifetime. What would you say is the greatest accomplishment or the one that you cherish the most?
Somebody asked me that the other day, Shane, and so I started thinking back. And as a player, as an athlete, I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school, and as a player, a participant on the team, the only real big championships I ever won was in baseball. In high school, Johnson City, and the state tournament. My senior year was in Memphis, and we had to beat the Memphis Christian Brothers twice. It's double elimination. They're a big private school in Memphis that really emphasized baseball. But somehow or another, I pitched both games. We beat them 7-6 in 8 innings the first game, and then we had a night off as double elimination. And then I came back a day later, and we beat them 7-5 to win the state championship. So people said, "What, as a participant, as an athlete, what was your best accomplishment?" I'd have to say pitching 15 innings in 3 days. They don't do that anymore. They wouldn't allow you to do that nowadays. They have rules for all that. But I would say that had to be the best as a participant, as a performer. Those 2 games I pitched against the Christian Brothers over there.
John's got a great question here, Coach, for you before we let you go here in just a second. He says, Coach, when you recruited a quarterback, what were you looking for? What traits did you want to see out of your quarterbacks?
Most of the time, just a guy who threw a nice catchable ball. You and Danny and Doug, all the guys that throw for a lot of yards, they throw a nice ball. I've always felt like coaches can coach the footwork and the ball position and the follow through a little bit. But the way the ball comes out of your hand, only the Lord can give you the ability to be a real, efficient passer that throws good catchable balls and throws it accurately. So I would say, just coaching the fundamentals is what we tried to emphasize. And then the quarterback's obviously got to be a good thinker. He's got to be tough. He's got to be courageous. Those guys are coming at you 100 miles an hour. And you just have to have the ability to feel them without looking at them. Your eyes have got to be downfield, but you got to feel the rush to, step up or slide a little bit. And when you watch all those NFL guys, sometimes those guys go back there, Shane, and here comes a guy coming at them 100 miles an hour, and they don't see him or they can't feel him, and they get splattered pretty good. When you wonder, man, can't you duck or can't you slide up, do something? But, there's a lot of just natural, innate ability quarterbacks have got to have, but probably just throwing that catchable ball, accurate passer, you got to be able to do that.
Yeah. 2 last questions here for you, Coach. This one comes from Teresa. She says, Coach, what's your favorite dish at the restaurant?
I got several. I usually order the scallops, I guess, but the other night we were out, like probably most restaurants in town. My wife, Jerry, orders that orange and blue shrimp. She's mostly shrimp. But I also like that mahi sandwich. Sometimes when I'm in and out and on the run, I get that mahi sandwich to go with lettuce, tomato, and so forth. So I'm a little bit more fish, but I do the steak or the meat occasionally. But I'm a little bit more fish and salad oriented. I really like that Spurrier salad, to tell you the truth. I just think that's a tasty, tomatoes, celery, nuts, and all that in there. So it's a good one also.
All right. Last thing before we let you go here, Coach. John wants to know on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meddled. What are your thoughts on Coach Napier and the changes that he's making for the Florida football program?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of changes, Shane, as we all know. A lot of extra people. Obviously, the formula that Alabama and Georgia have used has been very successful in their recruiting. So if all the extra people and the extra emphasis here, there, and the other can get the players that Georgia and Florida, Georgia and Alabama have been able to recruit or get through the transfer, if we do that, which we can, I think, then certainly all this is very worthwhile. One thing everyone has to remember, everybody can't win. And if everybody has the same format, there's still only going to be one winner and so forth as far as the SEC. But, I like what Coach Napier's done. I really do. I think we have a chance. I'm anxious to watch spring practice. I asked him the other day, you got about, 6 or 7 quarterbacks. How you going to practice all those guys? And I think they'll condense down to, maybe 3 or something like that, 3 or 4 pretty soon. But Shane, you remember back when I first got here, what were you, number 6, 5? You were number 6, weren't you?
It depended on which day of the week it was, Coach. Some days it was 5. A couple of days later, I might be number 6. Yeah. You never knew. Yeah, we had too many. In the first scrimmage, you didn't even get a snap. I'm out there rotating 4 guys, and they're all over the place. And finally, I think the second scrimmage, you got in there. And then finally, the spring game, you got to play a whole half. And then, but what people don't realize all summer, the effort and the work and what you did during summer, I mean, then it was obvious you were ready to go. So you went from 15 quarterback to SEC Player of the Year, just, doing the work, the fundamentals, but you were a natural passer, and the game was not too big for you. People say, were you nervous about letting Shane play that first game and coming out throwing all over the place? And I said, no. I mean, the game wasn't too big for him. He was ready. And that's another asset the quarterback must have. He must want to play in the big games. Hey, Coach, let me take over. I'm ready. So that's an ability you had, Danny had, Terry Dean, Doug, all those guys. They like the big game. Hey, I'm ready for it, Coach. Let's go do it. Yep. Well, we were coached very well. There's no question about it. Coach, we appreciate you taking the time to join the program.
All right, Shane. Good talking to you guys. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Hit them straight.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meddled Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
We're now going to go back to the Titan MR hotline. We're going to be joined by the head track coach here at the University of Florida, probably the most decorated coach with the most national championships, Mouse Holloway. Good morning, Mouse. How are you?
I'm doing great, Shane. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. All right, I want to go back to your younger days. I got to know. I got to hear the story why you're called Mouse. Tell that story.
Wow. That actually started when I was in the 7th grade. I was like 12 or 13 years old. Was actually a very, very small guy. my junior high school track coach, may he rest in peace, Mr. Gene Shellman. Everybody just had to have a nickname. And he couldn't think of one. My friends called me Peanut. He didn't like Peanut. And we were at a track meet once, and he threw me on a relay, and I ran well. And he actually walked up to me, put his hands out, and said, "Way to run, Mouse." And I asked him later why Mouse, and he said because I was short, I was really quiet. It looked like I was scooting across the floor, and I ran. So that has stuck with me since 1972. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Mouse, you coached at Buchholz, and then you were an assistant. You took over, I want to say maybe 2002 as the head coach. Is that the correct year?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So, but now you're coaching both the boys, the men and the women's track teams.
Yes.
I want to ask you, how difficult is it to coach both?
I think it can be difficult if you don't pay attention. I mean, if you have children, dealing with your male child or your female child is different. If you're married, you understand, how you better pay attention to your wife, right? And I think the biggest thing is with the men, you have to be, on top of them because they don't pay as much attention to detail as the women do. And with the women, because they do pay such attention to detail, you better pay attention or they'll make you pay attention. And I think that you have to just coach them and make sure that you find out what their passion is. You find out where they want to go with this, and then kind of find the path to lead them down that path. So I don't find it difficult because I'm a bit of a taskmaster, and I really want to know how great they want to be. And if they'll allow me to get them there, I can get them there. But it can be difficult if you don't pay attention. I think that's the best way to do that.
We got a text here on the Titan MR text line. It comes from Larry. Larry wants to know, out of all the national championships that you have won, is there one year or one team that stands out the most in your mind?
Larry, you are trying to get me in trouble this morning. I think probably the one that I would point to that was kind of, very satisfying was 2016. We'd had an incredible run from 2010 to 2015. We had been outside the top three, and then indoors in 2016, I think we were 7th or 8th, and everybody's like, "Oh, the run's over, they're done." And we went outside, and our conference meet didn't go very well, and came back, had a talk with my staff, had a great talk with my man, Matt Delancey, my strength coach. And I told him, the team, I said, if you guys trust me, we're going to win national titles. So we went from being 6th at the outdoor conference meet to a month later we were the national champions. So that's probably the most satisfying one because everybody had written us off.
Talk a little bit about, because I've always been intrigued by this. You have the indoor season and your outdoor season. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I want you to comment too, because I don't know where y'all practice for indoor now, because it used to be in the O'Connell Center, right? And
we never practiced in the O'Connell Center. Like it was. Oh,
you never did, but you could have, right? Because there was a track up top.
There was a track upstairs, but with all the events, they're always going in there, and I don't think people understand that the Athletic Association doesn't own the O'Connell Center; the university does. So then, if you wanted to be in the O'Connell Center, like we would have to rent the O'Connell Center from the university to have meets in there. So it would be, and every now and then, like if it was like really raining bad, we might be able to sneak in there for a couple of reps or something. But for the most part, we never went in there. We never did. So to answer your question about practicing, we don't. And if you watch us, there's a reason why it's usually after the second or third meet, we really start to come alive indoors because we've gotten used to being inside. Because up until the first time we walk inside for a track meet in January, up to that point, we've been outside every day.
So as an athlete, I don't want to say difficult, but how much of an adjustment do you have to make running indoors because the track is so much smaller? And I feel like when I watch an indoor track meet, it's like you got to really make your turns real quick.
Yeah, but it's a big adjustment, especially for some of the bigger guys. I've got a guy that's 6'7", and another guy that's 6'5", and a couple of 6'2", 6'3" guys on our team. So it's very difficult for them because it really hinders their stride length. But I think the biggest thing is just you have to find a rhythm. You have to find the right rhythm to have your body to carry you around the track. So again, that's why it takes us a few times on the indoor tracks to get ourselves going. But it's a mental thing. And what I found is, if you look at over the years, we haven't had a lot of kids from the state of Florida that run really well indoors until their junior or senior years, because most of them never seen an indoor track because they live in Florida. the young people that come in here and do real right away usually are the ones who are from up north.
We got a Facebook Live here brought to you by Meddled Law. Dan wants to know, speaking of facilities, how does the Florida track rank in the track and field in the SEC?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. A facility has never won a championship. And so I think our facility is fine. You know, I've had this discussion with folks, you know, a couple of years ago when everybody was, you know, getting new stadiums and getting new this. And, you know, there was this talk of we don't need a new track stadium. And I'm good. We host 2 track meets a year. So the stadium is not the deal. Like, I've got a great track facility itself, the track, you know, my throws area, my jumps areas, everything is great there. And that's where the championships are won. And, you know, the facility is great. And so, I'll answer it like this. We were visiting a school back in 2016, walking around the campus, and a good friend of mine was showing some of the great things they have on the campus. I was like, man, this is really nice. It would be nice to have something like this. He looked at me and he goes, I'll trade you. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you can have this. I'll take your national championships. I'm good. I'll keep my championships. So
no doubt.
The facility's not the deal. And I think that's something that people need to understand. You know, athletes, well-coached athletes, well-conditioned athletes win championships, not, you know, facilities and all that fluff. That's not wins championships. So.
Okay, I got to ask you. We've had some football players run track. I'm trying to think. Jeff Demps, obviously, he was. Who are some of the other guys that I'm forgetting? Oh
man, Jeff Demps, Chris Rainey, you know, Bo Carroll, and probably the biggest one ever was John Capel. For a little while there, he was the NCAA champion in the 200, and he went on to be Olympic finalist in the 200 as well. It was a world champion for us. But I think that those are the main guys. But even guys like, you know, Percy came out and practiced a little bit when he was here. And, you know, Riedel Anthony, some of those guys practiced with us over the years. But we've had Frankie Hammond was an All-American in the high jump for us. You know, a lot of people don't know that, but there was a year when, you know, football was half of my national championship 4x1. Rainey let it off and Demps anchored it. So, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. We just got a text here also, and I know the answer, but Joe wants to know, are you related any to Grant Holloway?
You know, no, we can't find a connection. So, you know, but, you know, we're Gators. So obviously we're family that way. But the ironic thing is that, you know, I'm really doing a lot with the ancestry thing. And I've traced his father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, and my father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, all to not a small county, but a county in Georgia called Pike County. They're all from Pike County, but we can't find a connection to the two families. So our families are from Pike County, but we can't find a connection yet. So as of today, the answer would have to be no, but I find it hard to believe that we're not going to find a connection eventually because, you know, the county can't be that big. You could have both of our families are huge, and you could have two families that large not be connected in any way at all. So
William says, are you happy with the new sports complex that's going to be in Celebration Point? There will be an indoor track meet there.
You know, I've seen the schematic. I've heard a lot about it, and I'm excited about it. I think anytime you can I think they'll be able to bring more youth track meets to indoor track meets here because the youth in Florida don't have a place to go. And obviously, once it's built and we can talk to them and, you know, see, it may even be a possibility we could have a meet or two there. So obviously that would be great. Because I got to believe that it'd be cheaper for us to rent a facility here in town versus putting 60 people on a plane and going across the country. But I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see what it looks like and see if it's something that's workable for us to have competitions in.
Yeah, no doubt. Talk a little bit about your team this year. Some of the people on it. You know, you got. I think you're at FSU starting today, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, you know, we're excited. I mean, we're coming off an indoor season where the men were fourth and the women were sixth, and we think we're better than that on both sides. And you know, I'll speak to the women first. You know, we've got a great jump crew led up by our phenomenal freshman Claire Bryant, who's second at the NCAA Indoor Championships. She broke a long-standing school record. And we got people like returners Brandy Johnson. We've got Taylor Manson in the 400. Our freshman Talitha Diggs, who's third place in the indoor championships in the 400. And then we got our jump duo, a triple jump duo of Latricia Hooper and Kayla Penn. I'm really excited about our distance crew. Coach Zielinski is really fired up about, we've got some great young distance runners. And then, we had a young lady that's had a big breakthrough indoors. Gabby Wilkinson went from 2:05.7 all the way down to 2:02, and she was an All-American indoors in the 800. I think on the women's side, it's kind of like we were with the men. We're just kind of knocking at the door. We got to find a way to break that door down and get in that room and be a part of the championship conversation. On the men's side, Thomas Mardall in the hammer, he broke the school record indoors in the weight throw, and he also was like the number 3 collegiate ever, I think. But he would be our leader in the throws outdoors, and then we get Clayton Brown back. He's an All-American in both the high jump and the triple jump. And we've always run well in the relays, and we shouldn't be any different this year. I'm really excited. We've got a real young jump crew this year, and I just want to be excited to watch them grow up a little bit. But I'm also excited about, our sprinters, Joseph Famboulet, who was All-American indoors in the 200. He's about 6'2", 200 pounds. And so that little tight track was a problem for him, but outdoors we don't have those issues. So, I'm just excited overall. Anybody that knows me knows I want to stick my nose in there and see if we get to be the best we can be during the championship season. So that would be our goal this year as well.
Well, somebody that knows you just sent in a Facebook Live here. Coach Blunt wants to know, what's the most challenging aspect of coaching right now for you?
Good morning, Peter. But the most challenging aspect for me is just, being cognizant of, the mindset of people, because anytime there's a change and, people talk about, the challenges of COVID and, talking about depression and all kinds of things that are going on. And so when you can't do your normal things every day, people, they're different. So I have to watch body language. I have to understand that there are challenges for people that they're not used to. You think about the person that's a social butterfly, that's used to being around people and hanging out. They can't do that anymore. So they come into practice, they're a little down. But other than that, I think I've always done a pretty good job of identifying people that have issues and helping them get through them. And so I've never looked at this. This is not a job for me. It's not a challenge for me. It's just basically me showing up every day and pushing these young people to be great. So if there is a challenge, it's just making sure that I keep my energy levels up so I can take care of them.
So in track, because, I've had, Tim Walton on, he only gets X amount of scholarships, same way with Sully. What scholarship wise, how many do you get for track?
Excuse me. I get 18 for the women and 12.6 for the men to cover 21 events. So it can be challenging, and we have to be creative, but we found a way to figure it out. I think the biggest thing is that, having a plan. I think that's a mistake a lot of people make. They just kind of fly by the seat of their pants. But I'm a planner, and understanding that we try to coach to our strengths, and we try to recruit to our strengths. So we recruit to areas we know that we can coach well. We don't just sign somebody just because they got a big mark. If we can't take care of them, we can't coach them. Why sign? So.
John wants to know here on Facebook Live, and you were part of the Olympic team coaching at one time. I can't remember what year it was, 2012 maybe.
Yeah, 2012, I was the assistant, and then I am going to be the head coach in 2021.
Yeah, that's awesome. He wants to know, have any Gator track and field athletes medaled recently in Olympics?
Well, I can't remember the last time we didn't have one medal. We had in 2016, Christian Taylor, Will Clay, both medaled in the triple jump. Karan Clement won the 400 hurdles. Tony McQuay and Armand Hall were both a part of the 4x4 relay team. After 2012, Christian and Will again. I know Tony was a part of a relay team that medaled. So 2008. I go all the way back to 1996 with Dennis Mitchell. That was one of the first Olympics I attended, and Dennis was a medalist in the relay then. So I really can't remember as far back as 92, and I know I was with Dennis then as well. So as far back as I can remember, all the way back to 1992, there's been at least one Gator in every Olympics that's got a medal of some kind.
I got to ask you this too, you're such a mile meter guy. When we throw interceptions, the coach jumps on you, cusses you a little bit here and there. So I got to ask, if you got a bad exchange in the 4x100 relay and it costs you the track meet, does Miles stay composed, or do you kind of get after those guys?
I'm going to get after myself, to be honest with you. And all of my athletes would tell you this. The first time they make a mistake, I always say to them, look, that's on me. I got broad shoulders. I got to coach you better, but I guarantee it won't be my fault again. So the first time it's going to be my fault. Now the second time, that's a whole different ballgame because I'm going to come back to practice. We're going to get after it. We're going to figure out how to get it done. But, they're young people. They make mistakes. Now, the only thing that'll get me, really going is a guy or a girl that's just lack of effort. That's just not acceptable. We train hard every day. And I tell people all the time, you see one of my athletes laying around on the track, that's nuts. It's an act. There's no way. There's no way they're ever going to hurt more than me they do in practice. And we don't do that kind of stuff. But, they're human. They're going to make a mistake. But if you make a mistake going full speed, I can deal with that. It's the athlete that just quits on me that gets to be a bad conversation sometimes. Because we talk about respect of the uniform, respect of the Gator on your chest. And, that's big around here.
No doubt about it. So you got to have like a nice display with all your national championship rings, right?
Actually, they're in a box somewhere. My wife knows where it is. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I'm not that flashy of a guy.
Well, I figured you might have them like in your office, so when kids come on recruiting visits or whatever, you can say.
I mean, they're here at the house someplace.
I got you.
I do, and Angela does put them out when we have recruiting stuff. But I can't remember the last time I wore one of them. Every now and then, if Scott or when Jeremy was here, they'd ask me to come to a function. I'd wear one just because, the boosters like to see them. But, I was asked once if I knew where my national championship trophies were. And I'm like, I don't care where they are. That's the past. And so the rings are the same way. I'm trying to win the next one, my man.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. Good luck this week at FSU. The rest of the year, we'll be following you. And I appreciate you taking the time to join our program, Mouse.
Anytime, man. I really appreciate you guys having me on this morning.
Absolutely. That's Mouse Holloway. Join us on the Titan More Hotline.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meddled Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
And we're joined by former Gator All-American, Hall of Famer, now the head coach of the swimming team, Anthony Neste. Good morning, Anthony. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on, Shane.
Absolutely. Well, Anthony, let's go back to you as a youngster. You grew up in Suriname.
Right.
I'm not smart enough to know where that is. Maybe you can.
It's South America, and it's the northeast corner, and it used to be Dutch Guiana. So.
Okay. So, did you grow up? I mean, do a lot of people grow up swimming in that area?
You can say that, yes, because there's, obviously there's, lots of lakes, lots of, rivers and creeks, and it's pretty hot and humid down there. So you always, to cool off, sometimes you just hop in, obviously into the pool, but where I grew up, it was mostly, I grew up in the capital, and, when you go out of town and, on vacations, you're always going to places with their rivers or beautiful lakes or creeks. So.
Gotcha. All right. So you come to the U.S., I believe, as a youngster from swim meets or what have you. And then tell us how you ended up going to high school at Bowles there in Jacksonville.
Well, I was 16 when I moved to Bowles, to the U.S. and then attended Bowles. My obviously when I was 14, 15, I was a pretty good swimmer back home, and I was kind of winning all the regional meets in the Caribbean and South America. And my dad wanted me to explore going to the States, because most kids in Suriname, once they graduate high school, they don't stick to the sport any longer, especially swimming, because swimming is so demanding to begin with, and so it's either go to the States and find a good high school with dorms that you can continue your career. But my dad, he back then you had to write letters, right? So my dad wrote Greg Troy and at the Bowl School, and I believe he another school we contacted was Pinecrest, I think. And out of the two schools, Bowles was the only school that replied. So by default, I went there.
Well, Bowles has had some tremendous swimmers come out of there. Let me ask you this: it's hard enough for parents to, when their kids get to go off to college, it doesn't matter if you live here in Gainesville and you're sending your kid to Tallahassee. It's difficult for parents to let their kids go. How difficult was that for you, just to go away for high school?
I think the biggest shocker for me was the weather. That's number one. Obviously, there's some cultural differences. The language, and Suriname, we speak Dutch, so. But I was pretty fluent in English, and I had I adjusted pretty well and pretty easily. I was always an independent guy, so I didn't have any problems. Obviously, the big concern of any parent is when you send a kid off, to high school, college, is it safe? Are they going to have pretty good people surrounding them, from the coaching staff to the athletes in the program and the student body. But as you well know, Bose is a fantastic school, fantastic in athletics as well. And my parents had no concern at that point, because they knew I was in a good environment. Coach Troy runs a pretty tight ship, so they had no worries about that.
So when it got time, once you were done at Bowles, obviously it was almost like a foregone conclusion that you were probably going to come to Florida to swim. Did you have any thoughts of going anywhere else to swim in college?
Well, I visited two schools. One was Florida, and the other one was Texas. And I chose Florida because I was kind of used to the Florida way of North Florida way of life, so to speak. Used to the weather, and it was pretty close for my family to visit, because you fly to Miami and took. And then you can hop on another flight to Jacksonville, or Gainesville, or whichever airport you would like to fly into. But it was a pretty easy decision. And the program was fantastic. So, and the thing what really impressed me about Florida, there's just a history as far as the Olympics are concerned, because I think we have the most Olympians than any program in the country, and you're talking medals. We're pretty good as far as getting people swimming at a high level internationally, and of course the Olympics is where it's at for swimming. The Olympics is kind of our Super Bowl, if I can say.
Right. We're speaking with Anthony Neste here. You can follow him on Twitter at Anthony_NesteUF. Speaking of the Olympics, I mean, you win, I think it was the first gold medal for your country, and Correct. You beat an American, Matt Biondi. Talk a little bit what it was like being in the Olympics, first of all, and to win a gold medal
I mean, that had to be the ultimate feeling ever.
Well, I went to the '84 Olympics in Los Angeles. That was kind of my first go at it, but I wasn't ready for it, and I wasn't at that level to and soon after that, in '85, I kind of left Suriname for bowls, and the Olympics is what every swimmer dreams of going to, and especially if you medal, that's kind of icing on the cake for us, because it's such a like I said before, that's kind of our Super Bowl, so that's kind of the highest achievement you can get as swimming is concerned, besides world records and that other good stuff, but. Going into the '88 Olympics, I was ranked top 8. My goal at that point was just to make the finals. 8 make the finals, and I was ranked top 8 going into the Olympics, and my goal was if I made it to the finals, maybe I have a chance of getting a medal, but I wasn't thinking of getting a gold or silver. I was, my goal was to get to the final and hopefully just to squeak in a 3rd place or something. So, obviously, I had a pretty good race, and the most important thing that Randy was my coach here at UF, and he was always harp on us to attack the finish nonstop. And I mean, it was a constant reminder for the entire program and all the athletes. You can't let up until you touch the wall. So, and what I did there was. I had a great finish, and I hit the wall just right, and pretty lucky. Lucky, hard work, and it was pretty good moment for me.
Yeah, we got a text here on the Titan MR text line for you, Anthony. It comes from Bill. Bill wants to know, where do you keep your gold medal?
I keep it in a safe at home.
Okay, so you don't have it displayed at all?
No. I'm not that type of guy.
No, I know you're not, but I didn't know if, like, obviously when you're recruiting kids, do you pull it out?
No.
Wear it around?
No.
So Anthony, so you win the gold medal, and then you swim at Florida.
Right.
And you and I were there about the same time.
Yep.
I got to ask you this. The only other swimmer I've had on my program, I've had Dara Torres. And you guys are crazy. The way y'all trained, and then y'all would throw these crazy parties. And I just don't know how y'all did it. I mean, was it just that y'all trained so hard, y'all had to have some fun and didn't care how bad you felt? I mean, it amazed me.
No, it's life of a swimmer, I guess. But those are the old days, But things have changed as far as the party scene, as because obviously we grew up at a different time too. So
right.
But the discipline, it's like you said, you got to blow off some steam, and that was kind of a common thing that for swimmers is to. Train hard and party hard, I guess.
Yeah. So when you look back at your Gator career,
mm-hmm.
I mean, you set numerous records. Y'all won many championships. Is there one moment in your Florida Gator swimming career that stands out the most to you?
Probably it's either 90 or 91 when because the 100 fly was my best event. And the 200 fly was kind of my second best event, and then on paper I was always slated to win the 100, but not the 200. But I believe in 90 or or 91, I won the 200 fly as well. And that's usually people that win the 100 may or may not win the 200. So, I think that NC2A meet stands out the most. But I won both the 100 and 200 fly.
Let me ask you this. We're going to get in. I mean, once you left Florida, obviously you coached around different places.
Right.
Then you come back to the University of Florida. But I want to ask you, when a swimmer comes in, do you know, like, he's a butterfly guy or, he's a freestyle guy? When does a swimmer decide, because in sports, it's usually, okay, you got to determine if you're going to be a football player, a baseball player, or a basketball player. How does a swimmer determine, okay, I'm going to excel in the backstroke?
Well, I mean, it's you look at what they're good at in high school, and obviously they're, in swimming, it's all about time, right? So, if your time is good to compete in the SEC out of high school, that's what you're going to compete in when you get to college. But the really talented athletes, they can do it all, and we have a couple of guys like that on our team that are very versatile. They're good at many things, but usually when they come out of high school, you kind of know what they're going to compete in college.
Gotcha. We've got a couple of Facebook Live comments here for Anthony Nesty, head men's swimming coach here at the University of Florida. Francis says, how do you go about recruiting swimmers to come to UF? Our grandson is a swimmer in Charlottesville, Virginia, and has been training. His training schedule is insane, and his goal is to swim at Florida.
Well, I mean, it's we try to recruit good people first and foremost, good students, because obviously Florida's getting, I tell people all the time, Florida's really good athletically, but academically it's equally as good. So good people, good students, and we like guys in our program that they make the program better. Sometimes it's not always, it doesn't show up on the on the scoreboard all the time, but we have guys here that are high performers. We have guys here that don't perform as well as they should, but they add something to the program. Whether it's making good decisions, keeping guys out of trouble, just being a good being a good team guy, being somebody that's always there for having empathy. That's kind of so we look for good students, good people, and and then sometimes they're also good swimmers.
We got another Facebook Live question here brought to you by Meddled Law, where you matter most. Jeff wants to know, Anthony, how do our facilities compare to those of other schools?
Well, I mean, our facility, was opened up in 1980, and so that tells you.
Yeah, we're a little behind. We're a little behind, no question.
But they've done some upgrades to that the last, I think, 5-10 years ago, and they were planning on doing another upgrade to it next year, but obviously with COVID, that's not going to happen anytime soon. But is it the best facility? Probably not, but it's a great training facility because we have both short course, long course, short course meters, water we can have. So from a standpoint of training, it's a great setup. But could it be a better pool? Of course,
Well, good stuff, my man. Hey, do you ever, when these hot shots come in as like freshmen, do you ever say, okay, me and you on the blocks, we're gonna see what you got? You ever try to outswim them?
20 years ago, maybe, but not now.
All right, Anthony. Hey, man, appreciate you joining us. Y'all stay safe, and good luck this year, my man.
Thanks, Shane. Have a great weekend, and awesome show. Thank you.
Thanks. That's Anthony Nesty, head men's swimming coach and UF Hall of Famer.